A very, very honorable guest of our conference, Dora Olsen, please. The Minister of Education and Research of Norway.
Thank you so much. Dear students, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends of good cooperation between Russia and Norway. Actually, we have two celebrations here today. One is to celebrate the agreement we just have signed between the Nordic Council of Ministers and Russia on cooperation in student exchange, in education and in research. And it is also with great pleasure I accepted the invitation to address you in the celebration of 20 years of fruitful cooperation between Russia and Norway within education, research and industry. So a 20 years celebration and a new agreement looking into the future. It couldn't be better. Russian-Norwegian relations and friendship go a long, long way back, in hard times and in good times. 4 Viking kings, Olav Tryggvason, the first of Norway, Olav the Saint, the second of Norway, Magnus the first, Harald Hårråde, all these kings found refuge in Novgorod from enemies at home. And Olav Tryggvason even was brought up in Novgorod. In the trade in grain and fish between the Pomors and northern Norway, a dual source fiction language, a mix of Russian and Norwegian, was created by the Russian traders and Norwegian fishermen from northern Norway. The Norwegians assumed they spoke Russian, and the Russians assumed they spoke Norwegian. And with this common understanding, they kept trading fish and corn for almost 200 years. Moja på tvoja, me and you. Last year, in 2010, Yuri Centurion, the Russian Deputy Minister for Education and Science, and myself signed an agreement on cooperation in higher education. The agreement signals the will on governmental level on both sides to strengthen bilateral relations in higher education. The first meeting in the joint working group under the agreement was arranged this year in June in Oslo. Among other things, the parties agreed to arrange a conference for higher education institutions under the agreement. The conference is to be held early next year, in 2012. The conference is to stimulate institutional cooperation and will also include business in order to promote matchmaking between higher education institutions and business partners. For it is a knowledge triangle between the innovation, the business life, the research and the higher education. They are linked together and dependent on each other. And furthermore, during the visit by Yuri Centurion, an agreement on cooperation within meteorology was also signed, and our countries are presently negotiating a bilateral agreement on scientific and technological cooperation. Norway has signed bilateral agreements within the fields of science and technology with a very limited number of countries. We give high priority to cooperation with Russia. It is therefore important to us to strengthen ties at governmental level with your country through a bilateral agreement. Cooperation in research and education with Russia has been high on the Norwegian political agenda for a long time, and it has, as you understand, been given even higher priority in the last years. But political agreements alone are not enough to create extensive and fruitful cooperation. For that, we also depend on active engagement from research and higher education institutions themselves, as well as from business. As a small neighbor in this region, it is important for us that Russian institutions, business and government regard Norway as an interesting partner for knowledge and for innovation. Russia and Norway face common opportunities and challenges, particularly in the high north. The treaty concerning maritime elimination and cooperation in the Barents Sea and the Arctic Ocean gives new opportunities for collaboration when it comes to the exploitation of oil and gas, and also perhaps in other fields where we have common interests like fisheries and like marine bioprospecting. The challenges regarding energy, environment and climate change are best met in partnership and in a community of knowledge consisting of skilled and educated citizens on both sides of the border. There has been a steep increase in contact and relations between Russia and Norway in the last decade. This is perhaps best illustrated in the numbers of Russian students registered at Norwegian higher education institutions. 10 years ago, there were about 138, and now in the spring of this year, there were more than 1,200. These students contribute to the diversity and quality of Norwegian higher education and to the good relations between Russia and Norway, whether they choose to stay in Norway or go back to Russia. When it comes to mobility of researchers, we do not possess the same statistical basis as we do for students. But I can assure you that we consider mobility among the cooperation between researchers as just as important as that of students. Our countries have strong traditions for bilateral scientific and technological cooperation within many fields of common interest, energy, environment, and polar research being some of them. Furthermore, Russian-Norwegian cooperation in multilateral contexts is growing in importance. The EU framework programs have developed into an important arena for Russian-Norwegian research cooperation. Overall, the success rate for Russian-Norwegian applications to the framework programs is high, which is a clear indicator for high quality. Our cooperation is particularly extensive in the program's environment and research infrastructures. The International Polar Year is also a fruitful arena for cooperation between researchers from our countries. It is important to secure the legacy of the International Polar Year, not least the networks between researchers from our countries. However important individual mobility might be, we would like to see more collaboration on institutional level. We need institutions like those present here today that develop joint research projects and joint study programs. And we need institutions which in all their work secure good linkages between research, higher education and innovative industry. This triangle, often referred to, as I said, the knowledge triangle, is high on the national agenda in many countries, including Norway, as well as internationally, including in the EU. But going from stating the importance of the knowledge triangle to actually implementing it and securing that research, higher education and innovation and business benefit from each other has turned out to be a challenge both at the political and institutional level. In this respect, I believe that the efforts and achievements of the High North Center and its Russian partners can serve as an example of good practice in at least two respects. Firstly, their work builds on a long-term commitment to developing cooperation between the Center and its Russian partners. And secondly, the Center emphasizes the interaction between the partners, be it research, higher education, institutions, authorities, or business. In this way, the High North Center is itself part of an academic institution, providing research and higher education assists in further developing cross-border business in the High North. The High North Center thus shows us that the knowledge triangle is not just a fancy concept, but that synergies between higher education, research, and and business and innovation are possible if you give attention to the linkages between the three and if you are willing to work hard over a number of years. But it certainly pays off.